The Discovery. On a distant planet, known for its harsh landscapes and strange creatures, a small team of human explorers roamed. They were part of a mission to study alien life and gather samples. The sky was a brilliant shade of purple, with 3 suns shining brightly. As they moved cautiously through the rocky terrain, they kept their eyes open for any signs of life. Suddenly, a loud roar echoed through the valley, shaking the ground beneath their feet. The team paused, looking at each other with wide eyes. "What was that?" whispered Sarah, the team leader. It sounded big. They had heard rumors of a dragon-like creature inhabiting this planet, but no one had seen it. Driven by curiosity and the thrill of discovery, the team decided to investigate the sound. They followed a narrow path that led deeper into the valley. The air grew warmer, and a strange smell filled their nostrils. It was a mix of sulfur and something sweet, like ripe fruit. As they continued, they heard the roar again, but this time it was followed by a series of painful cries. "Over there!" shouted Mark, one of the younger team members, pointing to a clearing ahead. The team rushed forward, and what they saw took their breath away. In the middle of the clearing lay a massive alien dragon, its scales shimmering in the light. But something was wrong. The dragon was wounded, with deep cuts on its side, and its wings barely moving. "Oh no," Sarah gasped, her heart racing. "We have to help it." But the others hesitated, unsure of what to do. The dragon looked both magnificent and terrifying. Its eyes, a deep gold, were filled with pain and fear. Mark stepped closer, his curiosity overpowering his fear. "Look at it. It's hurt. We can't just leave it here." He knelt down, his hands trembling as he reached out toward the dragon. "We have to try." The others exchanged worried glances. "What if it attacks us?" Maria, the team's medic, cautioned. "It's dangerous." But Sarah, feeling a sense of responsibility, said, "We can't abandon it. It's suffering. We're here to explore and learn. Helping this creature is part of that." With that, she moved closer, signaling the others to follow her. As they approached, the dragon let out a low growl, its eyes narrowing. It seemed to sense their intentions, unsure if they were friends or foes. Mark spoke softly, trying to soothe the creature. "It's okay, big guy. We're here to help you." Slowly, the dragon shifted its gaze from Mark to Sarah, who stood tall and steady. She could see the pain etched on its face, and something deep inside her urged her to get closer. She knelt down, making herself smaller and less threatening. "Please, trust us," Sarah said softly. "We want to help you." She reached into her backpack and pulled out a first aid kit. The team watched with bated breath as she slowly approached the wounded dragon. The dragon's breath came out in heavy huffs, and it seemed to recognize Sarah's gentle demeanor. It let out a soft whine, allowing her to get closer. The team felt a glimmer of hope. As Sarah began to clean the dragon's wounds, she noticed the creature watching her with curious eyes. It seemed to understand that she meant no harm. The other team members gathered around, feeling a mix of awe and fear. They had heard stories about dragons, but none had prepared them for the reality before them. "Look at its scales," Maria whispered. "They're beautiful." The dragon's scales shimmered like jewels, a mix of colors that danced in the light. It was a creature of unimaginable beauty and power. After a few tense moments, Sarah finished tending to the dragon's wounds. She stepped back, wiping her brow with relief. "I think it will be okay," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "But it needs time to heal." Just then, the ground shook again. The team turned to see a group of alien creatures approaching, their eyes fixed on the dragon. They looked menacing, with sharp teeth and claws. It was clear they were looking for trouble. "Get back," Mark shouted, stepping in front of Sarah. "We have to protect it." The humans quickly formed a line between the dragon and the approaching threat. They could feel the tension in the air, the danger looming closer. The dragon let out a low growl, as if it sensed the danger too. "We can't let them hurt it," Sarah yelled, her heart racing. They had come to this planet to explore, but now they were ready to fight for the life of a creature they had only just met. The bond formed in those moments of discovery was stronger than any fear they felt. As the aliens closed in, the humans prepared to defend their new ally. Little did they know that this dragon would change their lives forever, sparking an unexpected journey filled with challenges, friendships, and bravery. And so began the adventure of a lifetime, with the fate of a wounded dragon hanging in the balance. The rescue. The tension hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. The alien creatures approached, their eyes gleaming with malice. The humans stood firm, hearts pounding, ready to defend the injured dragon they had just saved. Sarah, Mark, and Maria formed a protective line, with Sarah shouting commands to stay together. "Get ready," Mark whispered, gripping a makeshift weapon, a thick branch he had found on the ground. The other team members nodded, their fear turning into determination. They wouldn't let the dragon face danger alone. The aliens, a group of brutish, reptilian creatures, advanced, snarling and hissing. They were large, with powerful muscles rippling under their scales. It was clear they had come to finish what they started. But the humans had no intention of backing down. "Let's show them we're not weak," Sarah shouted, trying to boost her team's spirits. "Remember, we're here to protect life." She could feel the weight of her words as she glanced back at the wounded dragon, who was watching with fearful eyes. It needed them now more than ever. Just as the first alien lunged forward, Mark swung his branch, striking it in the side. The creature stumbled but quickly regained its footing, its eyes filled with fury. "Watch out," Sarah yelled, as two more aliens charged in. The humans fought bravely, using everything they could find as weapons. Maria threw stones while Mark and Sarah swung their branches. They had never been in a fight like this, but adrenaline surged through them, igniting their instincts to survive and protect. As the battle raged on, the dragon seemed to sense the humans' bravery. It let out a roar that shook the ground, surprising everyone. The sound was both terrifying and beautiful. With newfound strength, the dragon struggled to rise. Its wings flapped weakly, stirring up dust and debris, but it managed to lift itself off the ground. The aliens hesitated, startled by the sudden display of power. The dragon's presence turned the tide of battle. With one powerful flap of its wings, it soared into the air, a majestic sight against the purple sky. "Look," Sarah exclaimed, pointing at the dragon. "It's joining the fight." The creature swooped down, its massive body creating a whirlwind. It aimed for the closest alien, sending it tumbling through the air. The remaining aliens looked shocked. They had underestimated both the humans and the dragon. They quickly turned to flee, their pride shattered. The humans cheered, their spirits lifted by the unexpected turn of events. But Sarah knew the fight wasn't over. "We need to make sure they don't come back," she said, looking around for anything they could use. "Let's set a trap." The team worked together, gathering fallen branches and rocks. They created a makeshift barricade around the area, hoping to deter the aliens from returning. As they worked, the dragon circled above, its golden eyes watching them closely. When they finished, the dragon landed gracefully beside them, its wings folding like a cloak. It looked exhausted but relieved. "You did it," Mark said, awe in his voice. "You saved us." The dragon tilted its head, gazing at each human in turn. It seemed to understand their gratitude. Sarah approached cautiously, extending her hand in friendship. "We're on the same side now," she said softly. "You're not alone anymore." The dragon leaned forward, nudging her hand with its snout. It was a simple gesture, but it held a deep meaning. In that moment, a bond was formed between them, human and dragon, united against a common threat. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the valley, Sarah felt a surge of hope. They had come to this planet for exploration, but they had found something much more significant. A new friend and ally in the fight against danger. "Now what do we do?" Maria asked, glancing at the dragon, who was still regaining its strength. We need to find a safe place for it to heal, Sarah replied. We can't leave it here unprotected. The dragon gave a low rumble, as if it understood their plans. Together, the team began to lead the dragon away from the clearing, carefully navigating the rocky terrain. They searched for a hidden cave or a sheltered area where the dragon could rest and recover. As they walked, Sarah thought about how much had changed in such a short time. They had entered this alien world as explorers, but now they were protectors. Friends fighting for a cause greater than themselves. They had discovered not only a wounded dragon, but also a purpose that would lead them on an incredible journey. The stars began to twinkle overhead as they ventured deeper into the valley, united by their newfound friendship and determination. Little did they know that this was just the beginning of a grand adventure, filled with challenges, lessons, and the strength of bonds that could conquer even the darkest of times. You said, the journey begins. The sun rose over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. Sarah, Mark, and Maria gathered around the dragon, who now seemed more alert and stronger. The team knew they needed to find a safe place for the creature to recover, and the dragon had to lead the way. Can you walk? Sarah asked gently, concerned about the dragon's wounds. It looked back at her with deep, intelligent eyes, then nodded. It was ready to move. As they began their journey, the dragon walked slowly, testing its legs. The team stayed close, keeping a watchful eye for any signs of danger. The dense forest around them was alive with sounds, birds chirping, leaves rustling, and distant animal calls. It was beautiful, but also filled with uncertainty. We should name it, Mark said suddenly, breaking the silence. What do you think we should call it? How about Ember? Maria suggested, inspired by the dragon's fiery spirit and the colors of its scales. The name felt right, and the dragon seemed to respond to it, glancing over its shoulder as if acknowledging the new title. Ember it is, Sarah said with a smile. Let's take care of you, Ember. As they walked, the bond between the humans and Ember grew stronger. Each step forward made them feel more connected. Sarah took the lead, determined to protect her new friend. After a while, they reached a small clearing with a shallow stream. The water sparkled under the sun, and they paused to rest. Ember lowered its head, drinking gratefully. Sarah watched in awe. It was a majestic creature, and they had saved it. Mark splashed water on his face, feeling refreshed. What do you think the aliens will do now? He asked, concern creeping into his voice. They'll be back, Sarah replied, her expression serious. We need to be ready. We can't let them hurt Ember again. As they rested, they discussed their next steps. Sarah suggested they find a cave nearby for better protection. They would need shelter and a place where Ember could heal away from prying eyes. After a short break, they continued their journey, searching for the perfect spot. The forest began to thin, revealing rocky hills ahead. They climbed cautiously, knowing that the higher ground would give them a better view of their surroundings. Finally, they stumbled upon a hidden cave, its entrance partially covered by thick vines. This is it, Maria exclaimed. The cave was deep and dark, but it felt safe. They could create a secure space for Ember to rest and heal. Once inside, they cleared the area, moving rocks and debris. Ember watched them, its eyes shining with appreciation. You'll be safe here, Sarah reassured it. We'll protect you. As the day turned to dusk, the humans settled in, preparing a small fire to keep warm. Ember curled up in a corner, its massive body resting as it regained its strength. The flames flickered, casting dancing shadows on the cave walls, creating a cozy atmosphere despite the looming dangers outside. I can't believe we're here, Mark said, glancing around the cave. Just a few days ago, we were on our spaceship, exploring, and now we're hiding with a dragon. It's amazing, Maria agreed. But we can't forget what we're up against. We need to keep watch. The team took turns keeping guard while others rested. Sarah felt a surge of responsibility. She was now a protector of not only her friends, but also of Ember. She had never imagined this journey would lead to such a bond. As night fell, Sarah reflected on their situation. The stars twinkled outside the cave, reminding her of Earth. She felt a sense of hope. They had formed a family here, one that included a dragon. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. Tomorrow, we'll explore more and find out what the aliens are up to, she said, determination shining in her eyes. We need to be prepared. Mark and Maria nodded, their faces illuminated by the firelight. Together, Maria added, her voice strong. As they settled into their makeshift home, Ember let out a low rumble, a sound of comfort and camaraderie. The dragon felt safe, surrounded by its new friends. And as they drifted off to sleep, the team knew that they were in this together, ready to face whatever came next. The journey was just beginning, and they would protect each other at all costs. The alien threat. The dawn broke over the cave, casting a soft glow inside. Sarah awoke first, her heart racing as memories of their perilous situation flooded back. She glanced at Ember, who was still sleeping soundly in the corner. Mark and Maria were still asleep, their faces relaxed in the warmth of the morning sun. As she stretched, Sarah heard a distant sound echoing through the forest, an unsettling noise that made her heart skip a beat. It sounded like machinery, a reminder that the aliens were out there, searching for Ember. "Wake up, guys," she whispered urgently, shaking them gently. "I think the aliens are near." Mark and Maria stirred, rubbing their eyes. "What do you mean?" Mark asked, a hint of panic in his voice. "I heard something," Sarah replied, her voice steady despite the tension rising within her. "We need to prepare." They quickly gathered their things and moved closer to Ember. The dragon stirred, its eyes opening slowly. It sensed the urgency in the humans' voices and stood up, ready to defend its new friends. "Ember, we need you to stay alert," Sarah said, her eyes locked onto the cave entrance. "If they come, we need to be ready." They settled into a defensive position, keeping an eye on the entrance. The noise grew louder, sounding like the thrum of engines and the clatter of metal. The team exchanged worried glances, knowing they had to act quickly. Suddenly, a flash of light illuminated the entrance of the cave. The three humans instinctively moved in front of Ember, ready to protect the dragon at all costs. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed closer, sending chills down their spines. "We can't let them take Ember," Maria said, her voice shaking slightly. "We have to fight." Sarah nodded, her determination stronger than ever. "We'll do whatever it takes. Ember is part of our team now." As the shadows moved at the cave's mouth, a group of aliens appeared. Their eyes glinted in the light, and their expressions were a mix of surprise and anger. They had come for the dragon. The leader of the aliens stepped forward, pointing a long finger toward Ember. "You are harboring a dangerous creature. Surrender it now." "No way," Mark shouted, stepping forward defiantly. "We won't let you take Ember. It's not just an animal. It's our friend." The alien leader laughed mockingly. "Friend? This creature is nothing but a tool for war. Hand it over, or face the consequences." "Over my dead body," Sarah yelled, feeling the surge of courage. The three humans stood together, determined to defend Ember against the odds. In that moment, Ember took a step forward, its massive wings unfurling slightly. The dragon roared, a sound that echoed through the cave and shook the ground. The aliens hesitated, their eyes wide with fear. "Stay back," the leader commanded, but his voice wavered. Ember's presence was intimidating, and the aliens began to question their approach. Sarah saw the momentary fear in their eyes and seized the opportunity. "You don't understand. Ember is not a weapon. It's a protector. You don't want to fight us." The alien leader narrowed his eyes, contemplating the situation. "You believe you can protect it. It is a dragon, a beast of chaos. You cannot control it. Watch us," Mark shouted. He turned to Ember and extended his hand, showing the trust he had built with the creature. Ember, we need you. Ember, sensing the support and belief from its new friends, let out another powerful roar. The sound reverberated through the cave, and for a moment, it felt as though the very ground was shaking. The alien shifted nervously, and the leader raised his hand to signal retreat. This is not over. We will return for the dragon. With that, they backed away slowly, their eyes never leaving Ember. As they disappeared into the trees, the humans let out a collective sigh of relief. Did we really just scare them off? Maria asked, astonished. Sarah turned to Ember, who had lowered its head, seeming to understand the humans' efforts. Yes, together, we can do anything, she cheered, feeling a wave of triumph. Let's make sure we're ready for next time, Mark suggested, his voice filled with determination. We need to strengthen our defenses. As they began to discuss their plans, the bond between them and Ember deepened. The dragon was not just an animal. It was a member of their family. They knew they would face more challenges ahead, but together they felt invincible. With Ember by their side, they were ready to fight for their new friend and protect their world from the looming alien threat. The adventure was far from over, and their resolve was stronger than ever. You said, the alien threat. The dawn broke over the cave, casting a soft glow inside. Sarah awoke first, her heart racing as memories of their perilous situation flooded back. She glanced at Ember, who was still sleeping soundly in the corner. Mark and Maria were still asleep, their faces relaxed in the warmth of the morning sun. As she stretched, Sarah heard a distant sound echoing through the forest, an unsettling noise that made her heart skip a beat. It sounded like machinery, a reminder that the aliens were out there, searching for Ember. Wake up, guys, she whispered urgently, shaking them gently. I think the aliens are near. Mark and Maria stirred, rubbing their eyes. What do you mean? Mark asked, a hint of panic in his voice. I heard something, Sarah replied, her voice steady despite the tension rising within her. We need to prepare. They quickly gathered their things and moved closer to Ember. The dragon stirred, its eyes opening slowly. It sensed the urgency in the humans' voices and stood up, ready to defend its new friends. Ember, we need you to stay alert, Sarah said, her eyes locked onto the cave entrance. If they come, we need to be ready. They settled into a defensive position, keeping an eye on the entrance. The noise grew louder, sounding like the thrum of engines and the clatter of metal. The team exchanged worried glances, knowing they had to act quickly. Suddenly, a flash of light illuminated the entrance of the cave. The three humans instinctively moved in front of Ember, ready to protect the dragon at all costs. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed closer, sending chills down their spines. We can't let them take Ember, Maria said, her voice shaking slightly. We have to fight. Sarah nodded, her determination stronger than ever. We'll do whatever it takes. Ember is part of our team now. As the shadows moved at the cave's mouth, a group of aliens appeared. Their eyes glinted in the light, and their expressions were a mix of surprise and anger. They had come for the dragon. The leader of the aliens stepped forward, pointing a long finger toward Ember. You are harboring a dangerous creature. Surrender it now. No way, Mark shouted, stepping forward defiantly. We won't let you take Ember. It's not just an animal. It's our friend. The alien leader laughed mockingly. Friend, this creature is nothing but a tool for war. Hand it over, or face the consequences. Over my dead body. Sarah yelled, feeling a surge of courage. The three humans stood together, determined to defend Ember against the odds. In that moment, Ember took a step forward, its massive wings unfurling slightly. The dragon roared, a sound that echoed through the cave and shook the ground. The aliens hesitated, their eyes wide with fear. Stay back, the leader commanded, but his voice wavered. Ember's presence was intimidating, and the aliens began to question their approach. Sarah saw the momentary fear in their eyes and seized the opportunity. You don't understand. Ember is not a weapon. It's a protector. You don't want to fight us. The alien leader narrowed his eyes, contemplating the situation. You believe you can protect it. It is a dragon, a beast of chaos. You cannot control it. Watch us, Mark shouted. He turned to Ember and extended his hand, showing the trust he had built with the creature. Ember, we need you. Ember, sensing the support and belief from its new friends, let out another powerful roar. The sound reverberated through the cave, and for a moment, it felt as though the very ground was shaking. The alien shifted nervously, and the leader raised his hand to signal retreat. This is not over. We will return for the dragon. With that, they backed away slowly, their eyes never leaving Ember. As they disappeared into the trees, the humans let out a collective sigh of relief. Did we really just scare them off? Maria asked, astonished. The showdown. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows over the clearing. Sarah, Mark, Maria, and Ember waited anxiously atop the radio tower, knowing they had to prepare for the aliens' return. They had sent out a call for help, but would anyone arrive in time? We need to set up defenses, Mark said, his eyes scanning the area for anything they could use. Ember, can you create some kind of distraction if they come back? Ember nodded, its eyes glinting with determination. It had proven its loyalty time and again, and now it was ready to protect its newfound friends. As they gathered rocks and branches, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the forest. The aliens were coming back, and they were angry. Sarah's heart raced as she peered over the edge of the tower, spotting the creatures moving swiftly toward them. Get ready, she whispered urgently. Mark and Maria took their positions, armed with makeshift weapons. The air was thick with tension, and the humans exchanged worried glances. Ember crouched low, prepared to spring into action at a moment's notice. Suddenly, the aliens burst into the clearing, their eyes wide with rage. You think you can escape us? One of them shouted, pointing up at the humans. You will pay for this. Now, Ember, Mark yelled, and the dragon took flight. It soared into the air, drawing the aliens' attention once again. Ember flew in circles above them, letting out a deafening roar that echoed through the trees. The aliens looked up, momentarily distracted. Get it, one shouted, raising its weapon. Quick, now's our chance, Sarah shouted. The humans launched their plan into action, using the moment to gather courage and charge down from the tower. Ember swooped low, its powerful wings stirring up dust and debris, adding to the chaos. The aliens struggled to aim at the agile dragon, their confusion playing into the humans' hands. As the humans descended, they began to throw rocks and branches at the aliens. We won't let you take us or Ember, Maria shouted, her voice steady. The aliens retaliated, firing energy blasts that sparked around the clearing. But the humans stayed focused, using the cover of Ember's flight to their advantage. They threw everything they could find, aiming for the aliens with determination. Ember flew close, grabbing the attention of two aliens, drawing them away from their allies. The dragon dove low, barely missing their weapons as it maneuvered through the trees. It was a game of cat and mouse, and Ember was proving to be the smarter player. The humans were gaining ground, but they needed to act quickly. We need to find a way to trap them, Sarah shouted, scanning the area for something they could use. Over there, Mark pointed to a group of fallen trees. If we can lead them there, we might be able to trap them. Let's go, Maria agreed, taking the lead as they started to maneuver toward the fallen trees. Ember continued to distract the aliens, swooping and diving, avoiding their blasts with grace. The dragon's movements inspired the humans, filling them with courage. They pressed forward, determined to protect their new ally. As they reached the fallen trees, Sarah had an idea. If we can lure them in, we can push the logs down and trap them. Right, Mark nodded, excitement building. Ember, bring them this way. With a loud roar, Ember flew toward the fallen trees, drawing the aliens in with a fierce challenge. The creatures followed, their anger blinding them to the trap ahead. Now, Sarah shouted, and the humans pushed the logs down, creating a barrier. The aliens tried to dodge, but it was too late. The logs crashed down, blocking their escape. Victory! Maria cheered, adrenaline pumping through her veins. But the fight wasn't over yet. The aliens were furious and began to attack the logs, trying to break free. Sarah, Mark, and Maria knew they had to act quickly. Ember, help us, Mark shouted. The dragon landed beside them, ready to lend its strength. With Ember's powerful presence, they fought against the aliens together. The dragon unleashed a torrent of fire, forcing the aliens back. The humans took advantage of the confusion, pushing against the logs to keep the aliens trapped. Just as they thought they were gaining the upper hand, a loud noise echoed through the forest. Suddenly, a group of human soldiers appeared, rushing to their aid. "We got your signal," one soldier shouted, aiming their weapon at the aliens. The aliens froze, realizing they were outnumbered. With a final roar of defiance, they retreated into the forest, vanishing from sight. The new alliance. With the threat of the aliens gone, Sarah, Mark, and Maria stood together, catching their breath. The soldiers who had come to their rescue approached with a mix of awe and curiosity. They had seen Ember in action, and it sparked interest in everyone's eyes. Who would have thought humans could work so well with a dragon? One soldier remarked, looking at Ember with admiration. The dragon flared its wings proudly, sensing the respect. "We had no choice," Mark replied, grinning. "We needed each other to survive." As they shared their story, the soldiers listened intently, fascinated by the bond the humans had formed with Ember. "We've never seen anything like it," one of the soldiers said. "Maybe there's more to this alliance than we thought." The soldiers invited Sarah, Mark, and Maria to join them in their camp nearby. "We have resources, and we can help you learn more about the aliens," a soldier explained. "Together, we can prepare for any future threats." Ember landed beside them, tilting its head as if understanding the significance of this moment. Sarah reached out to touch its scales, feeling a deep connection. "We're not just allies, we're friends," she said softly. At the camp, they shared stories and plans for the future. The humans discussed their desire to protect their world and the new friends they had made. The soldiers offered training, weapons, and knowledge, eager to strengthen their alliance. Days turned into weeks, and the bond between humans and Ember grew stronger. Together, they trained, combining human strategy with Ember's agility and power. They learned to work as one, preparing for any dangers that might arise. Then, one day, during training, an unexpected message came through. The alien force was regrouping, planning to strike back. The soldiers gathered, urgency filling the air. "We need to act fast," their commander said. "This time, we will show them the true strength of our alliance." As they strategized, Sarah and her friends felt a mix of excitement and fear. They had come so far, from being abandoned to forming a team that could stand against the odds. With Ember soaring above, they prepared for the confrontation ahead. Sarah looked at her friends and knew they were ready. They had faced danger together before, and now, with the soldiers by their side, they would face the aliens again. "Let's show them what we're made of," Sarah declared, determination burning in her heart. The group rallied around her, ready to defend their new home. As they set out, Ember flew high, casting a shadow over the ground below. The humans were more than ready. They had found strength in unity, proving that even in the darkest moments, they could rise together. This was their time, and together, they would write a new chapter in their story, a story of friendship, bravery, and the unbreakable bond between humans and their dragon ally.